Welcome back to ComicBook Nation, the only show that does it all for geek culture and the official podcast of comicbook.com. I am your host, Kofi Outlaw, and even though it might have looked like I was flexing if you were watching the live show, I'm actually old and was simply stretching the tendons in my elbow. Don't get tennis elbow while podcasting. Okay.
Man.
So yeah, that's where we're at. That's where we're at. I gotta stretch before
I
these.
definitely thought you're flexing, and I was with you 100%.
If I flex,
are you
kidding me? If I flex too hard, I'll rip something. You can't do that anymore. So welcome back, season 7 of Comic Book Nation. We are in the dead of summer. It's about to be 4th of July weekend, and we are hitting the ground running because this is the start of the content flood. We got several movies to talk about this week. We got there's TV coming at us left, right, and center. And then the movies start hitting, the big boys start hitting. So the next few weeks are going to be crazy. There's a lot on the line for Hollywood this July. Jurassic World's trying to make a comeback. Superman's coming in. Fantastic Four, which is where we're going to start today. So let's just get into the show. No more preamble. So, right up top, Matt, we got this Fantastic Four, the thing we've been asking for, because we were sitting here, and we don't hate on this show, but we were kind of, doubtful because we hadn't seen what Fantastic Four was bringing to the table for real. Superman.
So understand, we've been talking about that we had yet to really see like much outside of the same loop of footage, and we were still kind of, there's going to be action sequences, we need to see more of like what the actual story is, and I feel like this Fantastic Four trailer, while it didn't solve everything because I still have lots of questions, I do feel like I have a better sense of like what the movie is. I do also feel like we got actual, like, the whole running joke with the clobbering time and the thing I thought was really good.
Yeah.
Like, we got a sense of characters. We got a sense of like the dynamics a little bit. We did get like 0.5 extra seconds of Reed stretching. At the beginning, he does stretch.
Well,
I know you were worried. He does stretch. So
we've seen him do. No, he has technically done several elongations. He has not actually
that's stretching.
Yeah, but I mean, we haven't seen him do a loop-de-loop or around the corner grab. All the Reed Richards stuff. So I've been playing Marvel Rivals. Yeah.
And we got Galactus. Like, we did get stuff in this trailer that made me feel like, okay, we're taking the right step. I still feel like this almost feels like, when we were talking about that second Superman trailer and how that like kind of completely changed, I feel like, the perception of that movie and really kind of got people into gear. This one's like a half step of that. I feel like I still need one more to kind of sell me completely over everything, because we need more of that. But I did feel like this was a step in the right direction.
I mean, I kind of felt like this is the one where they're like, we got to keep up with what Superman is doing, but we're still going to be pushing. We're going to be whipping these animators behind through the month of June. Yeah, to get this stuff done and fully rendered. If the trailer's not playing right, we can just drop it because, we don't need to keep sending it. But
I need more trailers, Bradwood. Always more trailers.
No, I still have the same concerns about this. We know now that the runtime is short. It's only, as people are saying in the chat, I'm going to start being like the streamers. Chat. How long's the movie? Chat. It's only 115 minutes long, and that's pretty succinct. It kind of still feels like Shackman maybe directing a very big episode of TV, which, not for nothing, there are some first reactions to Superman. I didn't put this in because I just saw these kind of breaking last night, but we can throw this into the discussion. There are first reactions from Superman coming out. Mixed right now. Some people are really liking it. Some people are not. Some people are saying it very is much like a CW feel, like on a bigger budget. So, we've heard this during the production. So we're going to see if both of these films kind of can beat that in terms of scope and being cinematic. So far, I'm just concerned because, Fantastic Four takes place in this whole other world, right? But we just keep seeing the same kind of set pieces, right? It's like the Baxter building. There's going to be a green screen set piece at Galactus's ship, like in the first act, and then they got to go scrambling or whatever, or second act. And then, we're going to have some kind of action showdown when Galactus finally does come down to Earth. But basically, this just feels like a kind of short story of Fantastic Four hanging out. Sue gives birth. As soon as she gives birth, whoops, world's going to end. Guy comes down. They don't know how to stop it. Guy kind of goes through Earth. Something happens. The end. Yada, yada, yada. Avengers Doomsday. And so this seems like pretty straightforward to me. I'm still like, this is the time when I go into my Marvel bag and I just want to be hanging out with the weirdo nerds and the theorists, because I'm having more fun right now with this movie theorizing whether there's like a whole secret subplot about Doom and Robert Downey Jr. and if that's going to be a part of it, and how Doom could factor into this whole happening that connects it to Avengers Doomsday. So like, yeah, but I'm worried that it may not be any of that. And it's just going to be everything we see. And then like, whoops, either they get out of it because Baby Franklin like zaps them out of it or something. I don't know. But I'm getting worried about the basicness of this story right now. And while I like what I've seen in this trailer, I like Sue, and I definitely they definitely put the attention to getting Thing right and doing that. But there's a shot of Johnny in there that looks like it is straight out of Netflix or something, like where he's like waving to the people, like where the flame effect, where he's turning off the flame for his top half and he's kind of waving to the people. Like, and we still haven't really seen him up close in like flame form, which is still kind of, they're very tricky with what they're doing here. I'm worried that we're going to get to this final product and it's going to look silly as hell when we see like them in full effect trying to do stuff. So I don't know. And if both these movies come out and people are like, yeah, the CGI and the effects and the visual, like, I'm not, yeah, it could be, that's bad. We could be on a wrap for this whole superhero thing. So we're going to see. We're going to see. But I'm not against it. I also want to know what they're still, even though Reed Richards, they're just straight up pimping Pedro Pascal as just Pedro Pascal. Like, I have no idea who Reed Richards is going to be in this movie.
He's going to be Pedro. And Pedro's great. Pedro's been doing the Materialists.
Is it going to be Joel as
like, Pedro's going to be
in Marvel?
Marvel Joel?
Yeah.
But I'm hoping there are reveals. But let's be positive though. I like I'm at a point now where I like Kirby's kind of monologuing about family. Like, I like that. And I'm not gonna lie, I got a little goosebump and slightly teary when I just saw that scene of Johnny yelling at Ben at the end. Like, so it's so good. Like, that's so good. Like, say it.
And the clobbering time being a thing. Being a running joke of like, that was from the animated show. Like, I love that. Like, that meta-ness of it. I thought that was great. So if that's a kind of taste of what that vibe is going to be, I do really enjoy that. And there's also something to be said for simplicity. It is, it's a mainstream, this is like, look, Fantastic Four don't have the cachet, right, as far as like a mainstream audience, and so you do, this Fantastic Four can get super weird. So I am okay with necessarily like keeping it straightforward. Let's get the Galactus thing right. I'm okay with that.
I mean, and not showing us that. I mean, I'm kind of nervous about how that's going to look. I don't want another MODOK, but look, I'm going to be clear. The thing we've always said, and the thing these films have never really gotten right, is the ensemble dynamic between the family. And this one, like I said, I got the chills with seeing just Johnny and Ben kind of have that dynamic. And even though this is going to be a different Johnny, like him, that was just spot on. And this trailer, I think, does do a lot, because I was watching it with my son, and he kind of like, I could see him sit up and, not outwardly, but kind of quietly respond to seeing those little shots they kept doing cleverly of the different combinations of the family together. There's like Reed and Ben in one scene, Reed and Sue in another, Johnny and Ben in another, and Herbie, Johnny, Ben, and Herbie. Like, they're doing these different combos of how their dynamic plays off of each in like subset of the group. And those scenes look good, like, and they look like the actual core cast is going to vibe off each other. And that has to be the difference, right? Like, they're not a superhero dysfunctional team. They're a family. Right. They're a dysfunctional family, but they're a family. And so that dynamic has to kind of come through. Like, for them, when they go into battle, the stakes aren't just like save the world. It's like, yo, that's my wife over there. That's my dad, my brother over there. That's my, these are my people. Like, it's a whole different thing. And so if they get that right, we have a victory there, because if we want to see the four of them and Herbie together again, like, that's all we need to carry us forward. Because none of this, there's an element of this movie that we all aren't talking about, but we all already know, which is it doesn't effing matter, because this universe is getting wiped. And eventually we just want to see these people with the Avengers, but we want them to be a different kind of dynamic in the MCU. So if they get that part right, we win. So yeah.
And what will be really interesting is and someone mentioned it in the chat, right? Of like how we obviously know that they're showing up because of the end of Thunderbolts. We know kind of a part of that whole mix, right? That they end up here and how that happens.
Oh, so I don't know.
But here's my thing. That what that says though is that I'm interested in, okay, well, what if they fail? Right? Like, that actually has me interested for, you think, well, maybe they, like, there's always the possibility that they manage to make it work and save this world, but they end up somewhere else or something like that. But what if they fail and they don't save this world that we get to know over the course of the movie? That to me is really interesting moving forward for them. Like, that's a really interesting place to leave them at the end of this movie.
Oh yeah.
And then
for Reed
forward, they carry this weight. Yeah, like that pushes them into other places. That's interesting. So like, that stuff is also, I understand the mysteries are interesting to me. They have yet to annoy me of being like, oh man, show us more of like don't hide everything. At this point, it's starting to work the other way. I'm actually starting to get intrigued by some of those mysteries. They have to deliver. Yeah. But I think I am coming around to that more.
Couple of things. Yeah, I think the setup for them failing in this movie is important, specifically for Pedro. I think there's a reason they got Pedro for a longer arc, and this is how your maker can get made. Right. I hope we get if we get an ultimate Marvel universe, nobody's ever thought of that, but if that franchise does something like that, that'd be nuts. But that's how you get a maker, because that's how you get somebody who wants to restore something that they lost, like their entire universe. Like the Fantastic Four won't necessarily be fully at home in the MCU, or Reed won't, at least. And so that'll be interesting. Also, like I said, I've been in my bag with this movie about the kind of, I've been getting back to the nerd theories, and I went down the rabbit hole of one about the ship in Thunderbolts having different tail numbers than the one in Fantastic Four, all that stuff you've seen. Of course, these could be two different ships, obviously, but I like the theory that they did that as a misdirect, and that the Fantastic Four we see in Thunderbolts isn't the one from First Steps, but it's rather the surviving members of the one where Krasinski got wiped, and they're coming looking for, payback. But that's a deep dive. That's a deep dive. You guys, yeah, you can read that on comicbook.com.
Whoa.
I mean, but that would actually make a certain amount of sense, that Fantastic Four would be like, yo, you came over to our universe, wiped out our Illuminati, including our Reed, like my husband, my brother, like all of that. I think Doomsday and Secret Wars have to do these kind of surprises. Like, oh, we're all like, oh, what if Fair Steps Fantastic Four are in them? What if every Fantastic Four is in this? What if all of them are in it? You know what I mean? Like, what if
That'd
there's
be
just
awesome.
yeah, that'd
cool to
be
get the council
nuts.
reads. Yeah.
Or in just like have bring back Yon and Jessica Alba. Jessica Alba just stepped back outside. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Like, Evans is down and Chickless, has anybody checked on him? He's still around. So like, let's run it. Yeah, like
God. Too funny.
It'd be crazy. Like,
I do want to see them in Secret Wars, though. I will put that out. Like, that would be cool. I would love to see some of them return. I actually do have a.
No, I want it all. I want to go crazy.
I want it all. Money, cash.
I want it all.
So, oh wow, I went Warren G. You went Kendrick, but either way, we got it done.
Love it.
So be it. Anyway, it's gonna keep moving. Do you want me to jump into this other
Roofman?
I did not.
Yeah.
I did see your tweet though, which made me laugh. Of like, I know everyone's watching Fantastic Four trailer, but this Roofman is crazy.
It just came across my timeline. I was like, wait, what? Because I was looking obviously for Fantastic Four, and then this one dropped, and I was like, what is Channing Tatum? And I saw the Toys R Us, and then they got me, and I was like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
See, that's
that's how they got me. Yeah,
yep.
So I was
vintage imagery right there. I went, and that's what I did too. Because what is this? Oh, Toys R Us. I'm gonna find out.
Yeah, exactly.
So, crazy Channing Tatum. And I didn't realize this was a true story. So now I'm even more curious to go and do the research on that before this comes out. But essentially, Tatum plays someone who escapes prison and ends up hiding out and rigging all this stuff in the back of a Toys R Us and hides out here. And then as the movie plays on, it kind of is this story of, I mean, he's really good at being a thief. He's really good at breaking into things, but he's also kind of got a heart of gold in a lot of ways. And so he kind of finds this whole new life as he's living in the back of this Toys R Us as the world is searching for him. And I gotta say, this is it does hit the nostalgia feels, because we do get the way they did this Toys R Us. Everything, he's skating through it a couple different times. This Toys R Us really kind of becomes, it feels like another character in this movie, and it hits the nostalgia hard. I still am sad that we don't have a Toys R Us that Amber can go to. That bums me out so much. And so yes, this does hit that. Also, it just looks genuinely funny and interesting. So I'm in. I just did not see this coming.
Yeah, this is Derek C. and Francis, the director of Blue Valentine, still one of the most depressing romance movies of all time, and The Place Beyond the Pines, one of the craziest movies of all time. Both with Ryan Gosling. He kind of helped make Ryan Gosling, the art house star that he is now. But yeah, Derek C. and Francis is an interesting guy. He's a very Americana director, but I think he told me something that I remember to this day when we did an interview for The Place Beyond the Pine. Flex. Is that, he says he's this dude who's very artsy, but he's also kind of from a rougher working class area. And he said the number one thing that drives him nuts is a Sears family picture in people's houses, because he hates what it tries to represent versus the real crazy mess of what American family life is typically especially where he grew up. So he loves these kind of slightly trashy but crazy but interesting kind of Americana stories, and usually something about generational stuff like a Toys R Us. And this one's just crazy, true story. And I mean, Channing Tatum's been back outside. If you haven't watched Blink Twice, that's a nuts movie, but he's really good in it. And this looks like a movie, right? Something interesting. Remember, cinema, not just a series of random plot points, but a thing about characters. Kirsten Dunst is in this.
Yeah, it's so good to see her.
Yeah.
Love that.
So, yeah, man. it's been a minute. I like seeing Francis as a director. You got and Peter Dinklage in this. This is gonna be great.
He's
I'm gonna
hilarious.
be checking this out. Yeah,
So good.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is for the adults. Sorry, we're on Cinema Nation right now. We're doing this for the adults in the room. Now, let's get back into it. Then let's get back into our corner of the thing. Janelle, what's going on with the dinosaurs? I'm gonna see this Monday.
Are you? Okay, yeah. We've been talking, me and my friends have been talking about seeing it on Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. So we're still kind of like on the fence, wanting to decide. And so apparently is everybody else. Everybody who's seen it has very mixed reviews. Kind of the first reactions and the first impressions of people getting out there and seeing it are really interesting because a lot of them are like positive, and I feel like they're kind of breaking it down. They're like, okay, from this action-packed moment to the look of the dinosaurs, like it feels almost scripted, but then the like really, I don't know, authentic reactions feel kind of negative in my opinion, because they're saying like it's cringe. That is like a really big one to hear. Cringe. Okay.
Yeah, but I don't take anybody seriously who's saying that in a review. Like,
yeah,
if
I
your
mean, they're
review
probably
sounds
not
like a TikTok,
wanting to be. Yeah, it's weird though. Do you take the people seriously that are like overly reviewing it, that almost sound like they're scripted or being paid to say nice things, or do you listen to the people that are kind of like saying knee-jerk reactions like it's cringe?
Oh, let me be clear. Most of y'all are my sons, and I don't listen to my kids' advice about anything, so I don't listen to yours either.
Yeah, it's like, who do you listen to?
I'm different. I'm an old god. So right now, you just got to sift through the mess and look for some consensus. And what I've gotten from all of your blatherings out there, all yous, is that basically they said that and this makes sense to me, that Gareth Edwards, the director who did Godzilla, and a bunch of Rogue One, that he's very good at like visual effects, that kind of stuff. Like that's his whole bread and butter, and he's very good at like monster movie stuff. That's also his bread and butter. And so I've heard that the sequences in this, like the chase, the thrills, escaping from the dinosaurs, the actual sequences and set pieces are really good and exciting. I've heard mixed stuff about the human cast. I've heard some of it that it's really cheesy or cringe, as the kids want to say. And I've also heard that there's several different levels of performers. I think there could be some story in here mixed in about like, workers and, labor and rights and maybe something about immigration. I don't know. It looks like it could go a lot of ways, talking about a lot of things. And maybe that's what some of what people are reacting to. Obviously, these are going to be hot button topics right now. So there's also that to keep in the back of your mind. Who's coming out kind of quietly trying to be like, this is Hollywood liberalism. Like, whatever that stuff starts to bleed into. We'll see. I'm interested to find out more of that, because I feel like there's just like a lot of coded talking around some of this. And I always wonder what that's about when I have to go see the film for myself and be like, oh, y'all need to grow a set and just say it with your chest next time. Like, stop. Nobody's trying to decipher your problem.
Say it with your chest.
Say it with your chest. All right. So yeah, I'm going to keep an eye. I'm seeing it Monday. I'm very interested to see, because to me, this has looked pretty good. This has looked pretty interesting. And I'm in it for the sequences, because to me, that's what the original Jurassic Park really was. Like, yeah, we all love the wonder, the helicopter thing, seeing the dinosaurs for the first time. But really what that movie does, and when it kicks into gear, is when the survival sequences start. At night, looking at the goat, then the T-Rex, and from there on out, it is just sequence after sequence after sequence. Gotta get the power back on. Raptors in the jungle, sequence. Gotta get over this electric fence, sequence. Oh no, the Raptors are in the building, sequence. Like, that's what this whole movie is. And so if they nail that part, I'm in. So
same. I agree. I don't need a lot from this. I just need it to not be like bad. And I'll probably like it because it has dinosaurs and Scarlett Johansson. And I love both of those things a lot.
Yeah, no. And so I'm interested to see, but if you're talking about a cheesy, generic human cast and adventure and cheesy subplots, like that's okay, because as I'll talk about in F1, like there's a lot of that in F1. Like most of F1 is the sports movie you've seen a million times about the
I
washed up quarterback
figured.
that comes
Yeah.
back, and like it's the same story, but like what makes it good is Damson Idris, Brad Pitt are two beautiful people who have charisma and are riffing off each other in this kind of metaphoric way that's meta, because it's also about Hollywood, obviously leading man stardom. And like Damson Idris is the hot newness, and Brad Pitt's an aging kind of superstar. So there's all of that. Anyway, we're not going to get. You're not drawing me, Janelle. Stop trying to pull me into another F1 review.
Here's the thing, though.
Get anyone to see it with me, so I'm living vicariously through you. Like,
if you scroll up in the chat, your F1, your 3 or 5 at this point F1 reviews have really worked, because I saw a lot of people talking about F1 earlier.
Yeah, even before you brought it up, Kofi, we had like the chatters talking about this. And by the way, I will say shout outs to Brad Pitt for saying that my favorite driver would be great in Hollywood. He said that Carlos Sainz would be fantastic in Hollywood, and I was like, thank you for saying that.
Yeah, no, F1 was a vibe, and it is catching on. It's going to win the box office this weekend. It's gonna crush my girl Megan, but we'll talk about that later. Yeah, no, it's. Hey, man, when you get me to do 3 reviews, you know I'm going to sell your movie. Hey, that's what I do.
Y'all, when I get my parents to move here, look out. I'm going to all of these movies.
No, you got to see. I really think you need to find a moment to just go in IMAX.
I'm this was by like myself.
You need to treat yourself and just go see it in IMAX. Like, it is really, it's you will be locked in, as Bri was saying. It was crazy.
Love Island is on right now. And that is every single day of the week. Like, I went to a viewing party yesterday. These Gen Zers are losing their minds over this show.
Oh yeah,
they are it's serious business. This is the new Bachelor. Like, this is like the millennials loved The Bachelor. Like, this is crazy. And I'm like trying to keep up, but there are episodes every freaking day except for Wednesdays and Saturdays, I think.
So is Love Island the new like soap opera?
No, it's a reality show where they go.
No, but I'm saying like Fiji. That's what soap operas do. Soap operas are every day, Monday
through
Friday.
Well, it's at night.
Oh,
it's at night.
Yeah, they're putting the gas on. They're stepping on its neck right now. Yeah. They're pushing it hard right now.
Yeah. But it's crushing.
Like salt and pepper were in the background. All right. But we are so far from where we're supposed to be.
We're covering TV still.
Yeah. All right. So
on Dino Crisis.
Yeah. You got to go soon, though, Jay. They're going to pull it pretty soon, because we got a slew of IMAX movies coming. So that thing's going to be out of here pretty soon. All right. Let's talk about big review of the week. Obviously, is going to be Ironheart. So Marvel's Ironheart is here after many delays. We finally got it. We haven't seen Riri since 2022? Was that Black Panther: Wakanda Forever? Holy crap. So it's been a minute. I'm not going to hold you. I'm in between on this one. I am not with all the review bombers and haters. You guys are weird, and you're so sad. Like, it's just, I love the circle of like, I can't get a girl. I complain about girls. I can't get a girl. I complain about girls all day. Y'all are wild, man. But yeah. But no, Dominique Thorne is a star. She's really good. She's a great actress. I would love to see her get an actual bigger due. This is a series that has firmly convinced me that most of these hero origin things, they should have either been movies in theaters or they should have been 2-hour like features on Disney Plus with a movie budget, a single movie budget, a single trimmed down story, because there is a lot I like about Ironheart, but like the pacing, the writing, the stuff is so far off. And you can see where this is still coming from that old Chapek era, where they literally just tried to take a movie concept and stretch it out into like 6 hours or more. And it's like, and then you get, it's anime. It's like One Piece. It's like you get so much fluff scenes that like, you're like, what are we doing? And this is just, for every moment that I like, there's just another moment that I'm like, is this a different TV show now? Like, what kind of show am I in? Like, some of it is deep drama about trauma and death and, you know, all of
Really
this stuff.
good,
Yeah,
like,
and really
meaty
good.
stuff in there. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, Dominique Thorne can pull that off as a girl who's so in control of stuff, but like most geniuses, has this emotional kind of, you know, she's not emotionally there and like kind of messed up. And so I love all that stuff. Then there's this weird kind of magic thing happening with the hood, and this whole thing feels like a different show with this crew and a heist crew. And then yeah, there's this other show about the technological stuff and Riri and our boy Han Solo, which I actually like. Like them vibing is even better chemistry and sexier to me than like any of the other multiple dudes Riri's juggling in this show. Not to throw, you know, sweat on Riri's name, but she's got homeboy from the old neighborhood she likes. She's kind of got vibes with Hood, you know, and then there's Zeke. So again, the focus is all over the place. The tone is all over the place. But in each of these pieces, I'm like, yeah, I'm liking some of this. Like I have fun when they're doing the heist and that is happening and the crew is working together and all these weirdo personalities of the crew. That's a good show if that had been the show. I'm intrigued by the technology thing and her and Zeke talking about the legacy of Tony Stark and Obadiah Stane and all of this technology that's now out there. And what do you do with that? Do you continue making, like, all of that was why we liked the Iron Man, the first film, a lot, because of all those questions Tony Stark had to wrestle with, right? So all of the, and having this legacy hanging over them is interesting. So if this was an Iron Man Succession series, I'd be into it. Even the magic versus technology angle would have been interesting if that was like a whole focus, or if this was about Riri getting over trauma so she can be her best self and truly kind of invent what she need and figure out what she needs to use her mind to make to help the world. That's a great show. All of this together is a mess. It's kind of messy. And to the credit, they've pulled this together better than I've seen them pull together. Like this isn't like episode 1 of Born Again, right? Like this isn't that so jarring of two things being pasted together that you're like, ew. But this just reflects the lack of focus and why they're clearly giving you this in blocks the way they've done it, because this is the only way you'd be able to salvage this. If we had to have weekly discussions about each of these episodes, I don't think it would go very well for the show. So I get why they did this. And most of all, in just these 3 episodes, what I know already is I want to get Riri out of this mess and into something legit. Like, that's my feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to get her into that Armor Wars movie. Like, make an Armor Wars movie about all these people connected to Iron Man. Rhodey, Riri, Zeke, everybody. Like, just make it about what the hell what is the new technological, like, arms race without Tony Stark? Like, that's a big question to answer. So answer it and do, Justin Hammer, get it.
Answer it.
Yeah.
See, but I don't want that.
No? Oh, no. Renee time. Let's go.
I don't want that. So, okay.
Matt, what do you want?
I think you made a great. So I want to make a distinction between a mess and messy, because I agree with you 100%. I think this is messy, but I don't necessarily see that as all the negative. Like, I'm kind of split on it, but I think it's messy just because of the nature of all the things you are putting into this one series. But I don't think it's a mess, because a mess is just like, it doesn't work. And I think more of it works than doesn't. And the things that bother me, like, because I wrote a whole thing on this actually for Comic Book, right? I love that and I want to give praise to Lyric Ross, who plays Natalie, who plays her friend, and what we then learn is the AI, right? So amazing scenes between her and Dominique Thorne. Like those scenes, like, to me, are they're the core and heart of this whole show.
Oh, here. Oh, you and me are about to go at it. This is crazy.
Because the Iron Man of it all sucks.
Uh-oh.
I don't want your stupid Armor Wars junk in here. This is the whole reason the show works for me, is because they didn't do what the comics did, and they tied so closely in the comics to Tony Stark. Tony Stark was her AI in the books to lead this whole thing off. And that was fine, because the dude was laying in a coma from Civil War II, which was also a train wreck. Okay, so there was this wasn't great era, okay, for Tony Stark And so they gave kind of this like, hey, here's this like rehabilitation project AI over here. Yeah, get to like him, and also it ties Riri to him and all that. That was fine. Okay, that was fine. But Riri enters another stratosphere to me later in the comics when Natalie becomes her AI. And when all that happens, that's to me much more interesting, because Riri's origin story is, but it kind of gets swept up with the whole Stark of it all, and I don't like that. Riri's origin story as it is, and they made one or two small changes, but overall they did a really good job of like that is kind of that sets the tone for so much of her character, is this tragedy that happens to her and her not even overcoming it, learning to process it and deal with it. That is the strongest points of the series, and the Natalie stuff and her mom and all that, how that feeds into it. And in the comics, when they really dive into that, that's when the character becomes the strongest. And so I don't want the over Starkification of this junk. I thought this show did a good job of defining like who Riri is and her immediate family. And I don't want that other MCU-ishness to overshadow that. That, to me, that's what works about the series. This is why, despite like little things here and there, and especially more so with the Hood stuff, because the Hood stuff does feel like, and I'll give credit to Anthony Ramos, who, when I saw first trailers of this, I went, that does not look good. I don't like I don't like this whole vibe. And I got to give him credit, because the dude acted and pulled it off. There's a level of like charm, and there's just a vibe that Ramos has that actually makes that work enough for me to kind of like, okay, let's get to the other parts of the show kind of thing. Because I thought he made that work way more than I thought it would. And also I got to give credit to Manny Montana, who from Good Girls fame, who like comes in as Cousin John, and I thought he was excellent too. But I think that is the core of this show, and that's what worked for me. That's why I really dug over the course of like, you know, I think these 3 episodes, I'm really excited for us to talk about the other ones that come along the road. Because I think there's a tone shift in certain aspects that I'm really excited to. I feel like they lean into the stronger stuff as the show goes on. So I'm excited to talk about this when we get to like 4 and 5. I feel like I'm really excited for those conversations. But yeah, I think that's what works about this show. So I don't want to get it robbed. And when you throw Riri, if you just make her another armor user, and then you got like 6 other armor users, this is also coming from someone who doesn't like Iron Man 3.
Okay, you're doing a lot of you are running an entire defense on this show, but I got to disagree with you on your core point. I think that we're living
the heart of the show.
I think they tried to make that heart of the show, and I think that's where the show is the most glaringly off. Yeah. The stuff with Natalie in those scenes, like, okay, we're living in a year where Ryan Coogler made Sinners, and I realize I'm talking to both of you, and I'm not sure either of you have actually seen Sinners, so you don't necessarily know that what Sinners is actually about. It's a metaphor for what it is to be a Black creator and a artist, and trying to create art in a world where very often these other forces, usually white controlled forces like a corporation, come in and want to take your art and make it something else. That's literally the metaphor of that movie. So then we get Ironheart, okay? And my entire problem with Ironheart was when I saw the Natalie scenes, I was like, holy crap, okay. Like, this is like, to me, like a focus group sat down and said, yo, we're going to do this show. Make it Black, but make it Disney Black, okay? I want it to be Disney Black. And this feels, where Sinners is something that feels authentic, like actually talking in a cultural voice about cultural subjects. This feels like, yeah, this is like a Disney Channel version of a black girl's trauma and black girl magic. And I was just like, those scenes just, they played, and it's not the actresses. Again, you are right. Lyric and Dominique are really good. And I would see that, and I want them to continue if they, when Riri's in a Champions movie or whatever Armor movie comes next, right? Like, I want Natalie to be part of that. I want Natalie to be as much a part of that team as Riri is. I want their dynamic to be in. Like, when they send Riri off to do a tech mission and she's flying and, you know, the champions are like, get that door unlocked. And she's like, Natalie, get the door unlocked. And she's like, girl, don't yell at me. Like, I want all of that.
Yeah.
That stuff is great. But the scenes themselves, I'm like, ugh, like, yeah, this doesn't feel like us. And like, if I know like my cousins and stuff, this doesn't feel like them sitting around having. Now, the one scene that was different that I will hold up out of these three as that's an authentic scene is the mom. The mom is such a good veteran actress that she doesn't care that this is Disney. She's in a different show. So those two scenes, when the mom sits down with Natalie at first, that is like heartbreaking. That's real. Then when the mom sits down with Riri and they do that whole scene and she's like, can you bring Gary back too? And Riri's like, I can't do that. And you see that both of them kind of like, that's a show I think was there by like a real kind of more like a real kind of Luke Cage, like authentic kind of, this is Black pain trauma. These women are tough, but they've lost so much and they don't outright say it, but they're there kind of with it. My other favorite scene is when she comes home to all the aunties, right? And they're doing the stage and they're getting on her and they know, because they play that perfectly. Like her, from the moment she steps in, the mom knows what's happened to her. They've all been in there talking trash. You know the scene. All my Latinos, you know the scene too. You know what that's like. And you come in the kitchen full of the women and then your aunties are all sitting in there and they're just looking at you like, so, hi, baby, how you doing? And you're just like, oh, boy. Everything's loaded. Everything's kind of like, you know, pregnant pause. You know the scenes. So those moments are great. And like seeing that, and even Riri, like seeing the flashbacks and her dealing with that, like that's some real stuff. Some of the scenes with her and Natalie in the bedroom, like, yeah, I could have seen that in the 2000s, like, you know, Victoria Justice type stuff is like.
Okay, we're getting a lot of Disney shade, which I'm not okay with because I love Victoria.
I'm just saying, I feel like there was just like, I think there were notes that this was too heavy sometimes, too traumatic. No, I grew up. I got nieces and nephews. I sat down and watched a lot of that stuff. Trust me. I went know way too much about it than I should. And so that's the part of it. It's like, it's very kind of a little Disney-fied, and I'm like, and I feel like this could have been a harder show, even on the Ramos side and Cousin John, right? Like, there's a lot of this where they're sidestepping the actual darkness and violence, and well, because it's not.
And I agree. Look, I can't argue the Cinders thing because I am so excited to see Cinders, but I haven't had a chance to see it, though it is coming to Max, and I already have it circled on my calendar that I will be seeing it then. So I'm excited for that, but I haven't seen it yet, so I can't make the comparison. But I also don't doubt Ryan Coogler, right? So I mean, that's not hard seeing his previous movies. So, and I do agree that, I mean, this is a Disney show. This is on Disney Plus after all. Yeah. I absolutely.
Well, can I just stop?
Gonna get turned down.
Miss Slaughter, nobody said this show is not black enough. Please, let's not start that. In the comments. Yeah, Miss Slaughter, that's not your boy Slaughter. That's not what I'm saying. So let's be very clear at what I'm saying. What I said is this is very black, but the way that it's depicted sometimes feels a little bit corporatized and cheesy to me rather than authentic. That's what I was saying. And let me just be clear for everybody, because I don't think I said this at the outset. I think this show is much better than Secret Invasion.
Oh, it's not even. Oh,
geez, yeah. This show is way better than Secret Invasion. So far, I even like it a little better than She-Hulk because of just, like I said, it's up there with Miss Marvel for me because of the richness of the world. Like, I like it, and I'm excited for these next 3 episodes.
Okay, so
Yeah,
Miss
like, so,
Marvel's
like,
still
they
my top. Well, no, Loki's my top.
yeah,
Loki's my
Loki and
top show.
WandaVision are my tops. Yeah. Yeah, and
WandaVision's
I
way down
think
my list. I always get a bunch of hate for my WandaVision
As
takes
you should.
because I don't get why that show's so popular. But yes,
It's so good.
I don't understand it. But yes, so Loki and then Miss Marvel, and then there's been so many. I'd probably have to
yeah.
I'd really need to go do a collection and go like, okay, what is it there? But I wouldn't
Same.
be surprised, and Hawkeye's in there too in the top 5. But like I don't know if this I know this is in my top 10. I don't know
It's in
how
the
many
middle.
Disney Plus shows there are. It's
Mhm.
probably my top it might close to my top 5 because my thing is that it's literally a TV show about TV shows, man. Yeah, I know. I like, and that's all there is to it. Anyway, whatever. I'm not getting into the WandaVision hate because I'm not getting sidetracked because I have a whole thing on that. Yes. So I will say though that I like that they released the 3 episodes together.
Mhm.
Same.
I think it was smart because you do get an overall picture. For my whole thing is I like some of the things that come out of the magic versus technology story. And I like some of the things that it's weird. I'm very conflicted because I do feel like there are 2 shows fighting for control in this magic hood thing. But there are things that happen that like I actually like that come from that. So I'm kind of conflicted as to like, yes, if I had my druthers, I would have probably split those into 2 different shows and had more of a magic based show and then had Ironheart doing her other stuff over here. Cause I think there's enough material in both cases to support either their own show or movie or special presentation or whatever. I do think that was doable. That said, I do like some of the choices.
Yeah, no. This is
So I'm conflicted.
enthusiastic. I am in an enthusiastic middle. Like, I'm going to say the same thing about M3GAN in a bit. Like, this whole week, I'm in enthusiastic kind of average scores, but they're enthusiastic average scores. It's still, like I said, I laughed. People have been kind of ragging on some of the lines in this, but when I heard a house sway in this, maybe it's just my dad ass, like I laughed when I heard Natalie say house sway. Like, you know, there's moments in this I like. And like I said, I like the stuff with her and Zeke a lot. Like, I like them talking about legacy and like why you're doing this, and her just like her statement, like because I can, like, is a whole statement that I wish this show, and that's what I meant about the Tony Stark of it, not just corny armors, but like her being like, Tony Stark is a $1 billion white man who was making this stuff, and I'm this chick from Chicago, is the flex for me. And like, that's what I love about Riri, is that yeah, she's going to go get it from the mud and make herself a suit of armor no matter what. And that's the kind of thing that I really love about her character. That was like the one thing that distinguished her when they put her on the comic page. I was like, oh, what are y'all trying to do here? And then I started reading it and I was like, yeah, that's like that scrappy Peter Parker from the mud. Like, I'm going to build it myself. Like, and I don't have $1 billion, but I'm going to get it. Even if it looks crazy at first and then somebody recognizes and like, you know, backs me. That's what I love about Riri. So, yeah, man, I don't want to sound too negative, but I just also don't want to sound too positive because I'm in the middle. Janelle, I'm so sorry. We have just, man, now that we have thoroughly mansplained Ironheart to you from every angle, what are your conclusions?
Apologies for that.
I mean, no, stop it. I feel like you
Matt
guys
started it.
I
did not.
Everything. No, you're great. You hit everything. I mean, you kind of like, I don't really have much else to say other than, yo, this soundtrack is banging.
Oh,
like,
it is so good.
The music in this is so good. There's even Skrillex. Skrillex's new hit is in this, like from his new project, and I about lost it. Pretty much all of the music, it really got me. I thought it was very engaging, and I didn't have this moment where I was like, oh, I should go do something else instead of watching this next episode. I actually was like in it. I was ready to watch the next episode, keep it going, watch it on like the big screen, don't watch it on my phone. And that's a really good indication to me, because for other things, I will be like, I'm just gonna, pause this or watch it. I'll fold some laundry and watch it on my phone and not make a big thing of it. So I love this. My favorite moments are obviously, I love Zeke. Like, I love that relationship between the two of them. I know you already talked about it, but that is my favorite kind of like area of the show. I do agree. I think there is a lot going on. But I'm following, right? So like I understand what's happening. Having no background, I've never read any of these comics. Like I don't know the context. Like I just know Riri from her little like roles and other things. And I didn't do a lot of research leading up to this show. So I like that I'm able to follow. I get it. I know what's happening. I do think that like the pace could be a little slower to get more of an emotional bond to some of the characters, but that's just a me problem. I love those types of episodes and I love like character development episodes and things like that. I don't think I represent the majority. I think most people just want action. So I'm very happy and I will sit on my hands and not, be like, oh, you need to give me more character development. I really do enjoy it in general. I will say, since you guys brought it up, I do like She-Hulk better though, personally.
Yeah, we need to do a re-ranking now. We've had enough shows. Like after Ironheart's done, we should do like a big MCU show re-ranking. Because I don't think we've done it in like down. 2.5 years.
Yeah, that'd be so fun. But also, like, can we just talk about the suit? Like the special effects in the suit are beautiful. Like it doesn't feel like a CW show to me. I feel like they did a good job with that, personally.
I like the suit stuff.
And also Shea Coulee, my drag queen. I love Shea Coulee in this because I am a huge fan of RuPaul's Drag Race. So just had to say
it. Yes. I like the whole crew.
The whole crew's great.
I didn't think I'd like, oh, okay, here's kind of the like, the disposable group, right? And like maybe whatever, but no, I really did. I also do love the air contrast.
Yeah.
I love Stuart.
I mean, I could have just had a show where like she teams up with Alden Zeke.
Aldrich.
I really love that storyline.
No, Disney was slick. They knew what they were doing. This was the end of Pride Month, and they dropped this, and they knew what they were doing. There was all kinds of vibes over this, from representing with RuPaul's Drag Race to the twins to even the thing that people picked out about Riri's mom saying if she was in the bedroom with a boy or a girl. Like there were vibes all over. Oh my
God, I missed that.
Yeah, you gotta pay attention. And y'all in the chat, man, my people in the chat, you guys are turning on me hard. Real hard.
Finally.
Just to hear these two then turn around and re-rank She-Hulk and Miss Marvel over it. See? This is what happens.
Over what? Over Ironheart?
I know.
This is not against you. Oh, no. This is not against you guys. I'm talking to the chat. You know who I'm talking to in the chat. Y'all are turned on me hard. No support. Put around here, I step out front. I'm like, yeah. Turn around, nothing but spears behind me.
Oh,
yeah.
Nothing
but spears behind me. Yeah, man. All right, so, let's talk for a minute. Can we talk for a minute? Oh, sorry, my headphones cut out. Can't send me text during the show. Get my headphones cut out. So where were we?
Squid Game, first impression.
Yeah, this is real quick. I hopped into Squid Game this morning because we get up and do this first thing. So like there's barely any time. I was up as long as I could last night, but they dropped this at like that 2 a.m. stuff. I was like, come on.
God.
Like, yeah, I wasn't staying up for that. So I went to bed. But we're back right from the bat. We are back into a more traditional Squid Game. And I wish they had called this season 2.5 and dropped it a little sooner. But we're back into the typical flow of Squid Game again. This felt quickly like a realigning of the deck, getting back into the flow, less of the, disruptive stuff from the early part of the second season. But yeah, I'm back in. So I'm going to be finishing this. We'll have a full review for you guys when we've all had a chance to see it, process, and we'll get back to it next week. But Yeah, there's content all over the place. This week alone, we had Ironheart drop. The Bear season 4 is out. I didn't put it in because we had a lot to talk about today. But yeah, I'm also into The Bear, which is also doing its own transitional thing this season. And people are, of course, surprise, divided about it. So yeah, we can also talk The Bear more next week.
DCC cheerleaders season
Yeah,
2.
yeah. Don't talk about no cowboy stuff on this show.
I did start
This is,
watching.
this is a Super Bowl champion Eagle show. Don't bring that over here.
Unanisa did start watching that.
Yeah, I know. My wife is, but she knows not. She knows to put the headphones in when I come in the room. Don't play that around me. Don't play that stuff around me. Don't even put it in my ear.
But you'll watch Love Island, right?
Oh yeah. That has
There
nothing
you
to do
go.
with the Dallas Cowboys.
Love
Yeah,
it.
you know what we
Yeah.
need? We need Love Island crossing over with The Bear. We need
Jesus.
all
All
of
right.
the Love Island contestants having
We
to set
need-
up shop in an eatery.
We need to take a break.
As
Come
long as
back
they
and
like
finish
make
this
out
show.
and stuff, it would work.
We got to take a break and finish this show. That's what we got to do because we've talked for a long time. All right. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Yo.
Theater this week, M3GAN 2.0. So M3GAN 2.0 is back, and I went out and saw it. And again, I'm giving out enthusiastic, if not average to low scores. So I gave this 2 stars. I had a lot of fun. Like I said online, I am almost embarrassed by how much fun I had with this stupid movie, but I had a lot of fun with M3GAN 2.0. It's a very much kind of like Ironheart in that it's messy in terms of like different tones and things come together. Part of this movie is about like trauma recovery. Part of it is an actual attempt at a deep story about talking about the future of AI and what we should do about it. There's a genuine drama attempt at that, which is unironically hilarious to watch them try to do. And then there's most of this movie, which is all of the producers of the first M3GAN watching your TikToks in that SNL skit and being like, okay, well, it's not what we expected, but I guess this is where we are. So this is Brat Summer for M3GAN. She gets, instead of just being the kind of doll pretending to be a doll and then going nuts like Chucky, like we got in the first film, this time she's a whole ass character. They do a T2. This is T2. There's another killer robot, so they need this robot to send a maniac to catch a maniac. Demolition Man. And M3GAN gets to be sassy and banter with the cast a lot more and do that whole thing, play on the ironic humor of her trying to kill everybody in the first film. But there's some crazy sequences in this. They do it's more of an action movie. It's not a horror movie, so it's kind of an action sci-fi action movie. Again, it's T2. So you have Ivana Svanko from Ahsoka playing the other killer robot, and yeah, it's just stupid. It's so dumb. This is so dumb. Like, we didn't need a M3GAN sequel, but it was nuts that they actually legitimately tried to do T2 for the AI generation. But there's some cool sequences in here. Like, there are several sequences of robotic or cybernetic kind of fight sequences that are pretty fun to watch. And M3GAN versus Amelia is cool every time it happens in the movie. And like you saw, there's like a sports car chase sequence. There's all this stuff that happens that's just action movie craziness, but with M3GAN. And so this thing feels like an SNL skit, but it's a real movie. And yeah, bring on the third, I say. Hell, just get the trilogy done.
Well, doesn't it have its spinoff? Isn't there already a spinoff announced or something?
Oh, I don't know. Is there?
I thought
maybe
there
you
was.
could be right. I'm not. I'm trying not to get too into this particular rabbit hole.
This
but
movie seems so ridiculous, and
it
Soulmate
is so good.
set for 2026.
Oh boy,
An erotic thriller.
Oh god. Oh god.
Yeah. Look at this. Crazy.
God.
This movie seems. I agree with you though. Like this movie seems so. I haven't seen it. I want to see it. I will probably like. I'll probably see this on streaming at some point. But if I'm going to be honest, but like this seems just stupid fun in like the best way. Like this is crazy. I can't believe I'm fully on for this franchise. But here we go.
No, this is like this is. I mean, you can wait for streaming for this, but this is some of the dumbest fun you can have. And M3GAN's an icon. That's the whole thing. Like M3GAN, the combination of actresses who play M3GAN. I mean, they've made this character an icon. Like she really is. And in this one, there were legit multiple high raise finger snaps and screams of yes and one eat in my theater during this movie. Like it's insane. Eat.
Oh man.
Eat. Like somebody when M3GAN was kicking ass, somebody screamed out, eat.
4 letters. One word.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
So it was people respond to this stupid little doll. Like it is insane. So we get another one of these. You better believe if this movie does any kind of profit or streaming, and they still only made it for like 15 to 25 million. They're spending nothing on these. The most baffling thing is Jermaine Clement in here, and his character is some kind of paraplegic that is totally inappropriate in every kind of way. I don't know. I don't know why Hollywood, but all right. So next up, of course, movie called F1.
This is review number 6. What is it?
In theaters? Yeah. 3 weeks in, I'm still giving it an enthusiastic 2 thumbs up as a cinematic spectacle. I've really got to start checking the release dates on these things. Yeah. But F1 is a good sports movie. It is a kind of formulaic story. You've seen it before, but Brad Pitt, Damson Idris, and we don't say enough. I was thinking about this week. We need more appreciation posts for Kerry Condon. Kerry Condon's been holding it down for us for so long, whether it was, if you know your HBO shows, HBO's Rome, Octavia of the Julii. You know, she's in the Breaking Bad universe. She's Mike Ehrmantraut's daughter-in-law of the wife of his dead son. She was Tony Stark's, delightfully Irish AI in the later Iron Man movies. Banshees of Inisherin. She's Colin Farrell's sister. Kerry Condon's been just out here doing it for a long time and is charming and wonderfully, good character actress. And she could hang with Pitt and Damson Idris and Javier Bardem, and we don't say enough about her. But racing scenes, awesome. Brad Pitt still a star, even though he's playing the oldest man to ever try to drive a racing car. Go see F1. It was a good experience. And you know who's really feeling themselves right now, who's breaking out the baby oil, is Apple. Apple Films is feeling themselves because Apple's been... Will Smith didn't do it. Denzel didn't get him there with Hamlet, but F1 looks like it's going to legit make them a blockbuster movie. And they are ironically...
built-in fan base. So
But that's ironically the meta part of the movie is Apple is this F1 team. They're trying to break into this lane and they don't do it. So they went and they got Brad Pitt. There you go. Boom.
And
all right.
Hamilton. I mean,
there's a lot of F1 cameos.
He was like incredibly involved. I think either a producer, like associate producer.
Yeah, no, he's a producer. He's an executive producer. He's like, I think he helped them do the driving designs, like all of that.
Everything. Even like the
no.
sound. He was like, "Hey, that doesn't sound like this one turn, so you need to change that."
No, they got the sports people, and it's not just the drivers. They got famous faces from all over F1 kind of who pop
So
up in little
cool.
cameos in this. And so from the
God,
from the
I
most
wanna see
famous
it.
designers, like, yeah, it's the best. It is one of the best campaigns for an actual product disguised as a movie since, that Fred Savage movie sold us all on the Power Glove, right? All right. So
Sold.
we will, that's it. We will not be doing any more reviews of F1 on this show.
We should do a review check-in next week.
Yeah, thank you for
Still-
my
see if he
screening.
still
I
feels
had a lot
good.
of fun. Yeah, but we will not be doing any more reviews of F1. And to let you know, not only did I not get paid for these reviews, but I had to buy myself a new damn iPhone this week, and this computer I'm on will be replaced soon, and they will pay for none of it. So,
Oh
And
God.
there you go.
good business. Love podcasting. Let's go. Matt, my mouth is tired. Pause. Just please take over the show for the end here.
I
Yeah.
want to we've been talking a lot about streaming, and I want to give a shout out to something that is on streaming right now that released this past week on Netflix. K-pop Demon Hunters
Oh my God.
is so good, yo.
I
It's
saw it on my like trending situation, and I was like, "Oh God, please, Kofi, do not tell me to watch this."
I watched the trailer and I was like, I thought about it too. I
It's
thought about
so
it
good.
hard.
So glad
This
you
is
did it.
from
Thank
the
you.
newest from Sony Pictures Animation. Like, this is the same. Mitchell's versus Machines was great. I mean, obviously we know about Spider-Verse, but like this is so it has that same like overall aesthetic, which I dig anyway. And I'm a big animation fan.
Mhm.
And then you get into K-pop, and I love me some K-pop. Okay, Blackpink for life. So I'm just saying, like this whole thing, I'm a blink. I'm totally a blink, right? So like I was all in on this. You got awesome animation. You have literally a K-pop group called Huntrix who is hunting demons. That is their whole thing, but they're actually performing really catchy songs while they do it. Like they're in between the things, and then there's this whole story about like how one person like actually has an attachment to like both sides, right? And so there's this like story in the middle of all this kind of K-pop sing-songy goodness. The animation looks great. And then the fact is that like they actually play on a lot of the like if you're into K-pop and stuff, like it's very meta in that it like approaches like all of the stuff within the girl group. There's obviously archetypes. You can see like there's one girl in the group who is like feels like a total take on Lisa from Blackpink. And like if you know all the popular groups, then there's a boy band that comes in that's actually like the Demons formed their own group to battle. It's absurd in the best way. It's awesome. And then they're obviously like, if you know a Tease or BTS or any of the big groups on that side, there's obviously takes there, right?
I don't know if this sounds
awesome.
any more ridiculous, this or when you try to talk about wrestling, like arcs.
Probably
they
this.
both-
Probably
Yeah,
this.
It's so good. Well, number one,
But I'm
they
gonna
are
watch
the
it now
same
because I
number-
love
they're the same
K-pop.
level of absurd. Yes, I mean, and in the best way though. I love it. But yeah, it's so good. It's so good. I dug this so much.
We
Yes,
need
it's
that
on
on
Netflix now.
That should be your quote, your only quote on the back of every like review thing you get printed on. It's so good. So good. 3 exclamation
It's so
points.
good. So good. So cool. I dug it. So yeah, go watch it on Netflix. It's fun, man. I hope they do another one because I thought this was great.
Oh, so it's not a show, it's a movie?
It's a movie, like hour and a half.
I'll watch it.
Yeah, and it's on Netflix, and it's great.
All right. That is K-pop Demon Hunters.
Watch it. So good.
Where are we going next?
All right, let's go with some comics. Goodness. Let's start with, I don't know if Janelle, did you get a chance to read Absolute Wonder Woman or not?
Yeah. Oh,
okay,
yeah.
cool. All right. So
This
let's
is
start
you
with
too. DC will not let me back in the door. I don't know what I did to
my
DC.
God. I'll work on that.
Yeah.
I'll work on that. Okay,
Yeah.
so Absolute
Help me
Wonder
out.
Woman, number 9, picks up where we left off with Dr. Poison. But then we're kind of moving into this kind of next trial for Diana, and we're really marching towards, like, we got some big teases last issue of like who's this other Amazon that's supposedly down in this maze, and like all these other teases for like kind of the bigger picture stuff. And so here we're kind of starting that journey. Janelle, what did you think of this, and also kind of how this builds into the run overall?
So good. It's so good. It's so good. No, just in general, like I think Absolute Wonder Woman is taking my number one spot. It's just, oh man, it's all this like lore and yeah.
Really
Sorry, you struck my ludicrous spoon.
I love it. But yeah, I'm really such a fan of these. I had no idea who they were going to make like the big reveal of who this other Amazon was. They built so much tension with the talk of the maze, and it's like a prison. I had no idea. I was like, is this like the Labyrinth? Because that's one of my favorite movies of all time. So I'm getting like Labyrinth vibes. It just so good. Yes, it deserved a theatrical release. Are we talking about the K-pop? Jim,
yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Oh God. Well, this should get a theatrical release. If this came out like in a show or something, like an animated show with all of this stuff would be so sick. God, I love this Wonder Woman. I love her. She's edgy. She's not too high and mighty, and like she is, but she isn't. And she's like willing to kill a human. Like they even mentioned that, like, oh wait, I thought you were like you didn't want to kill humans, but you're holding me over the side of a building. And you said you'll do it again if I don't give you what you want. Like it's just, I love her. She's just more real, I guess.
Yeah.
And I love it. And I'm not gonna. I mean, we shouldn't spoil the big reveal at the end, but oh man, I can't wait to see where that's going to go and what that interaction is going to look like between this character that was just revealed and Diana. So, yeah.
Yeah. Some of the stuff that takes place in the maze from like that point on.
Yeah.
It's all subverting your expectations because you go with one notion, and by the end of that, it's all turned upside down. You're like, okay, that's really cool. But yeah, I agree. Like, and I also just love her reactions to like just her dialogue is so it's blunt, direct, but it's never heartless, right? It's never like Kelly Thompson has just done such a fascinating job of finding that perfect balance with how she reacts to humanity, how she talks to people. Some of the stuff she says to Edda, and this is great. So yeah, I think it's fantastic.
Could see Gal playing this Wonder Woman and Absolute Wonder Woman for sure. Bring her back. At least as a voice actor on an animated series. Let's go.
If you did an animated version of this and then you had Gal voice it, that would be interesting. I'd be interesting. Look, I've made my thing known. I'm all for like kind of separating from the previous thing, but I still love Gal's Wonder Woman. Did you have a chance to
Martian Manhunter? Heck yeah.
Okay, what did you think?
I'm still like, this is just such a funky read in general. And having no context, like not knowing anything about Martian Manhunter, like it's a lot for me to take in. And I think that this is a weird version, obviously, because we're in the absolute world. So I don't know if this is the best representation of Martian Manhunter for me as a first timer, but it's a thing. It like, I don't dislike it. It's just a vibe. Like it's just it's a thing. It's just a complete different vibe. I have no emotional connection to our Martian dude, to our character that he's inhabiting. Like I don't quite know exactly what's going on, but I feel like that's intentional. So, it's not, I really like the book, but I'm in a confusion mode reading this series the entire time, but it's kind of refreshing because it's totally different than like all the other absolutes. So especially when you're piggybacking and reading them like one after the other, it is a nice refresher. It's like a palate cleanser, but it's a lot. it's like hard for me to understand
I
everything.
I have
Yeah.
done the biggest 180 on this book. I came out not like Kofi was way more hyped on this book, and you were
Yeah.
too. Actually, both of you were really hyped on this book when it hit, and I was like, I don't know, still trying to figure out things.
I feel like I've
And
been
now
confused the whole time, but
I am
happily
so
confused.
in. I love
Yeah.
this. It is such a it's so I love and this goes back to like one of the key points Kofi made back then when that first issue hit of like what it was trying to do
Mhm.
and kind of, the Martian is the more human aspect of this book and all
Yeah.
that, all of that stuff that is just really paying dividends as we move forward. So like whereas I started out more hyped on Flash and then I was like, it's not connecting with me. I feel like Flash is just
God, I
not
haven't
my
even
book.
oh my God, I need to read those. I don't think I've caught up on that one.
Yeah.
I'm so mad that I'm out of this discussion right now. I'm like so pissed.
I'll get your things figured out.
I do have a question though. Is this like so if you guys don't know my story, I started really getting into comic reading like heavy in 2020. That was like my COVID sourdough. And everybody else learned how to make
I don't think you've
sourdough
ever
during
mentioned
COVID.
it.
Yeah. What?
So I don't think you've ever mentioned it.
But is
I'm just
this
fucking-
like is this like kind of is this reminiscent of a certain era in comic book like design?
The art is
Okay.
more of a throwback to kind of like the Kirby-esque kind
Got
of
it.
brighter.
Is that like the 60s era? Like what?
Jack Kirby was a fundamental creator at the start of both Marvel and DC.
I do
He's
know,
the guy,
right?
yeah. But
Yeah.
his thing was like all of this cosmic alien, his concepts of who he had read in sci-fi and cosmic and aliens. Like he was designing entire worlds, colorful worlds,
Cool.
cultures, the way they operated. And for that time period, that was really advanced to be able to think beyond like
And very complex.
the time. Yeah. And very complex.
Yeah.
And out there with some of these big sci-fi theories that he was kind of working into comic books. But so this is kind of a neo age of that. And I haven't read this latest issue, but
feel that.
That's what I dig about this book is this is kind of neo sci-fi where we're now dealing with things because we have come so much further about human psychology, how our brains work, mental health, all of this stuff. And so like the concept for me that is the core of this book, because I always think you need something at the core that's simple, is this is an alien being weirded out by us, which is the joke we make on social media all the time. It's if aliens came down here, like we understand, like, that's a big joke now. Like we understand why the Galactic Council would make Earth a flyby kind of world, right? Because aliens coming down here and be like, and just spending 5 minutes in our brain would be like, whoa, like what is this? In fact, there's a great meme that this reminds me of that I found this morning that had me laughing for like a minute straight. And it was like, it tells you something about humanity that like Thanos just wanted to wipe out half of all life in the universe to make the entire universe like sustainable. Ultron spent 5 of his first minutes on the internet and decided it all had to go. Like, yeah. It was like, no, all of this has to go. And so like, it's that. And so like, I'm just saying like, because that's an AI looking at humanity, which is always the kind of like weird self-deprecating thing we say. It's like if robots looked at us or aliens looked at us, they're going to be like, what the hell is going on here? We possibly should get rid of all of this. But this guy is more sympathetic, and it's like he's trying legitimately to understand humans, but it's such a mess inside of our heads now. And that's the thing, that the sci-fi trick that I think the book is playing very well, is it's kind of, and I think why it kind of irks people in some ways is it is holding up a mirror to the fact that we are living. And this is a thing that I talked about and I started thinking about like in my own therapy. It's like mental violence is a real thing. It's a real thing. It's a real thing for people who are different. It's for women, people of color, LGBTQ. When you go out into a place and there are people around you and it's hostile energy, that's a real thing that causes stress, anxiety, blood pressure. And we're just now getting to the precipice of being able to address those things. Like we call them microaggressions or anything like that. But mental violence is a real thing. This book is just taking that concept and blowing it out into something wild. And and it's tough to do visually, but I think the artwork is inspired for trying it. So I'm gonna stick with it.
Yeah, no, I dig it. It's great. But let's move into a book that I know Kofi has jumped into, which is Ultimate Spider-Man. What are you thinking?
All you boys need to read this and learn, and you all have to make a decision. Is the beauty and the fun worth the toxicity? You have to make these decisions. You're gonna have to. That's just life. You know, you're gonna have a black cat break your heart, baby.
Oh,
It's gonna happen to you. And you know what? And you're still gonna hand her the diamond necklace, even though you know it's wrong. But welcome to life. But no, that's just a long-winded way of saying, like, I love the way this book is settling in and really is blending kind of real life family dynamics and things like that with this kind of emerging superhero story. This was, I think, the most filler issue I've read so far in terms of just arranging pieces instead of actually like doing anything necessarily too significant. But what it's arranged is obviously very intriguing and going to shift things into a whole nother gear here. So really like how they're setting things up.
Yeah. Janelle, what'd you think?
I did not get this link. I feel like I missed it.
Oh, did I put it in
our
of course.
chat?
I was all over the place this week.
No
So
worries.
apologies.
No, it
Apologies,
might have been
everybody. I feel
me,
like
but
I think
I
you're just
feel like
dividing. You're dividing and conquering us. You're like, I'll just split them.
Gonna keep it over here, keep this over here. Like, yeah. No, that was on me. So because I agree with Kofi in the fact that like there is a lot of moving everybody into their spot kind of for the next thing. But that's what makes this book so interesting to me, or so great to me, really, is that in those moments, there's so much there that I never feel there's a filler issue. Like I always feel like the conversation amongst the Mysterios
I'm getting roasted. Oh man,
great.
I don't mean like a bad thing. It was all significant. This was just a board arranging. Let's not say filler.
Oh no, I wasn't bad. I was just saying,
okay.
like, there's never but that's what I love about the series the most is that, like, even in those spots where in any other book, or in a lot of books, I won't say any other book, but in a lot of books, this would be a spot where like a bunch of things move around, but nothing is said that's actually ultimately meaningful or that will play out later on down the line. And what I love about books like Superman's another one that does this, the conversations and those spots of interactions always pay off later. There's always something that pays off from even the smallest conversation, the stuff like with even just the whole group meeting between like MJ, Ben, J. Jonah, all that, the Harry and Spider-Man conversation that then leads into this whole thing about the Mysterios. And like that conversation in and of itself is important because they're now all on the same page to a degree. They start out just like at each other's throats, and then like as you move forward, they're unified, and that's gonna move into something big. The stuff with Richard and Black Cat, which like again, my biggest thing with Black Cat is always like, at least now they're doing something with that character, and we're starting to kind of move into that place of like, I love her last line, right? Like you almost could see a twist coming, and then the line delivery is what it's like, of course it would be like, duh, like, and the way they deliver that and stuff again makes that scene something else than other than just an obvious turn. It's not even a turn really, because like she says like, oh no, all that stuff is true. I still really like you. I still, all this stuff is here. No, this is real. This is kind of what I do. Like that whole thing. Great. So this book does amazing things with what someone else would make filler. Oh, I can't hear you, buddy.
How bad do you need your soul? You know, I told you, every young man eventually. How bad do you really need? How do you need all of it? Can you sacrifice some of it? to this girl who's obviously grab a cop's gun crazy. Yes, maybe. Yes. And what did he do? Turned invisible, hopped on a plane. You know?
Without a moment's notice, just like
one text. He was like, "Gotta go." Yeah, so that's shout out to Brywood in the chat. Yeah, that was that Anne Hathaway, Selena Kyle leading you into the sewer tunnel moment. Same deal. Do you really need all your vertebrae? Do you? Can you give up a few to impress that girl? Sure, she'll slink off to the shadows and take your money, but she'll come around one day once I get out of this hole and get back to Gotham, Oh my God. Yeah, we all been there. But no, there's several things that are still, and I think Hickman's great, as people are saying in the chat, he's great at arranging boards. That's like literally what this man does. He's probably one hell of a guy to have setting up your D&D campaign. But he also does it with a 3-card Bonnie kind of sleight of hand, where you're looking so hard at one thing that you don't notice some other stuff. There's been theories about some of the remaining Mysterios and who they look like and who they may be, that are very interesting theories. There is still also the question of MJ in all this, and like they've done such a great job of putting MJ in front of us without having us necessarily ask certain questions about MJ, which is very well done. So I'm very interested to see that all kind of play out and come together. But what I like about this is Hickman remembers what it was like to read those old 60s and 70s Spider-Man stories, because people forget that Spider-Man really did have this kind of weird mystery noir bend to it. Like the mysteries of who the Green Goblin were, who the Hobgoblin was next. Like all of these were like big mysteries, and like Peter had to figure out. Peter had to do a fair amount of detective work in a lot of these stories. So I get that feel again, that there's like this larger kind of, not espionage, but this kind of chess game at work in this whole world that we're in, and I dig it. So Ultimate Spider-Man is still really, really good and up there.
Really good. So I will work on Kofi's DC Access, and I will work on Janelle's PDF. I'll get it all together.
You're amazing.
What is this you have at the end?
Okay, so this is my agenda. My sole agenda for this week is we have to save Tiny Chef. Okay. And for those who don't know who Tiny Chef is, and Rich, if you could play this adorable animation, this is Tiny Chef. He's a cute little chef, and he like bumbles all over his words, and he's like the cutest thing. He's like, I've got a bunch of viral reels and TikToks and things of him doing all kinds of things, dances and stuff. But he has a cooking show, and it's on Nickelodeon, or it has been at least for 3 years, and like a lot of episodes. And in this particular video, which is the one that recently published to the YouTube channel, Tiny Chef reveals that he has been canceled by Nickelodeon in a very like real life thing. He's on the phone call with the company in this video, learning that he has been canceled. And he's asking about his friends, and he's asking about the show and like all his big plans for things. And then he learns it, and he has this really like emotional moment. It has gone viral for several reasons. One, because people have hearts, and two, because he's like such a kid. The way he tries to compose himself and move on, and then he just can't. He can't. It is heartbreaking. Okay, so
what is like
this is heartbreaking.
What is this?
It's heartbreaking. Okay, because he learns he was canceled. It's very meta. So in reality, the show was canceled kind of suddenly, and now Tiny Chef is trying to kind of find support. Yes, I'm talking about it, Brightwood. He has to find some help. They're trying to continue the series on social and some other things. And so now you can go to Tiny Chef. I think it's like tinychefshow.com, and you can there's a couple of different things you can do, and they're trying to find a new home for it. I just want to do my part in the fact that Tiny Chef is adorable. He's brought me many hours of joy in this house. Me and Ember love watching the reels and going through it. In the show, by the way, he even brings it up in here during the call. He's like, but we won an Emmy. They won. This is an award-winning show. And it was
I
canceled
mean,
in the
it
most heartbreaking
happens.
fashion.
Yeah,
The
I
most
mean,
heartbreaking fashion. It's
Do you
so
thi-
like,
you do bring up a good point, though. Like, you do bring up one good point in all this madness. In all these years, we have never discussed. Janelle, do you need an agenda? Do we need to like give you an agenda and we can swap out every
I
week?
do.
We can swap out once in a while. Once in a while.
Yeah, if you,
We
Janelle,
already talked about
seriously,
F1 and Love
you know,
Island, so I feel like I got my
yeah.
agenda in there.
No, but seriously, that's an oversight. So I'm so sorry. Like, if you ever have an agenda,
No,
please
you're fine.
just pitch it, and we
I
get your
always throw
agenda.
in my Doctor Who references, and
Yeah,
I
no.
made you give full reviews of F1 for 3 weeks now, so we're
Yeah,
good.
no. Yeah. So no, but seriously, if you ever have an agenda, I want to make sure your voice is heard and you have a platform here. Your
I
agenda
would
is
just
always
like
welcome.
to say, Distance Nerding brought up a good point, and he does have an Emmy, but he can't afford pants. It's a great comment.
I will never revoke Matt's agenda, but I feel like we should also, spread the love to our other co-hosts.
I agree wholeheartedly.
You have
Yeah.
some weird stuff.
So go support Tiny Chef.
I mean, well, that's what made me think of it. Is it's like, well, now that we've reached this Rubicon, I don't think we have to worry anymore about anybody else's agenda all that much. So you can go, you cook. Tiny Chef will be one side of the rails. We'll find something on this side, and then you just cook in between.
By the way, Janelle has agreed the agendas will be colliding, because Janelle has agreed to watch WWE Evolution, which is the all women's pay-per-view that is coming up next month, and we're gonna talk about it. So I'm just saying, like, the agenda.
Not coincidentally, I have upcoming show that I'll possibly be taking off. So we'll see. We'll be in touch. But
Love it. All right.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna get out of here. This is Comic Book Nation. We're the only show that does it all for geek culture and the official podcast of comicbook.com. I'm your host, Kofi Outlaw. My co-hosts are Janelle Wheeler and Matthew Aguilar. We will be back next week. It's Jurassic World. It's 4th of July. Oh, God, we got to figure out if we're all going to be here. Oh, my God.
I'll be here.
Yeah, I'll probably be here, too.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll be here. I ain't got nothing going on. So we'll be here 4th of July. Doing our thing. We'll see if we even have a team, or if it'll be one of our off the rails self-recorded episodes. Audio only. You know how those get. There's no rules. It's like international waters. All right. So thank you all for waking up with us. As always, we have one of the best chats in the world. We're gonna get like the streamers. Chat. We love you, chat. Thank you, chat. All right. I show need for coffee, so I'm going.
Me too.
This is Comic Book Nation. Peace.
It's